everybody, it's me Stacy here at Scrapbooking Made Simple, and it is time for YouTube Saturday with Stacy, YouTube number 191. This is the February release of my Simply Defined dies. It's also the release of a new die that will be coming to you every other month called Kaleidoscope. Now, in January, if you recall, I released my must-haves, which were those huge ovals that nested, and then it had the stitch die with it, and it had dots, and it had little hashes. That is an every other month release. So there'll be 6 must-haves every year, and we started with the ovals. So if we started in January, the next must-have die will be in March. That leaves February. So for the off months that are not a must-have month, they will be a Kaleidoscope month. And there's just one die for the Kaleidoscope collection each time we release it. And so 6 must-haves every year and 6 Kaleidoscopes each year. So I'm excited to bring you the Kaleidoscope die that I have for you today. That is the name of the collection. The die name is actually Sandra's Bouquet, and that is for my mom. Now, there is definitely a story to go along with the kaleidoscope and how the kaleidoscopes you see behind me and the kaleidoscopes that are above me, there's more in front of me. Many of you have asked, what are they? What do they mean? Where did you get them? We've even had, are you selling them? No, those are my kaleidoscopes, and yes, there is a story to go behind it. But I'm not going to start with that story. I'm going to finish with that story. I'm going to get all the way through this YouTube, and then I'm going to tell you the story of the kaleidoscopes. And that way, if you don't want to hear my story, and you will not be, I won't be offended, truly I won't. You will have seen the YouTube, and then you can click stop. I'm okay with that, really I am. And if you do want to hear the story, then it's there for you to listen to. But I promised that I would bring you the story of how the kaleidoscopes came to be, and this is the YouTube to share that with you. I will tell you that it is a story that I have not shared often. In fact, Mr. SMS, my husband, did not know the whole story until 2 days ago when I sat down and finally told him the entire story. And so it's something that I have kept very close to me for a very, very long time. And now I am going to go ahead and share it with the world, because heck, why not, right? If you're going to share it, you might as well share it with the world. I don't do anything small, that is for sure. That is what Mr. SMS says all the time. You just don't know how to keep things small, Stacy. So I have got the next release of Simply Defined. It's called Beloved, and I'm excited to bring it to you. I've got a few dies that I'm going to play with because I need to show you kind of how they work and a little special features about a few of them, and that a couple of them work with past dies that you may own already. But before we get there, we have Winner Winner Chicken Dinner to talk about, and for that I require my glasses. So in YouTube number 190, we played with the Spellbinders Steel Rule dies. So that was those thicker dies that cut so many different types of materials. And we also played with the Nouveau glitter markers that are new to the market that are so yummy. Oh my goodness gracious. So I have 2 Winner Winner Chicken Dinners, and the way they won, hello Mr. Mailman, or mail lady. I can see them in the camera. The way they became Winner Winner Chicken Dinners is they watched this YouTube. They have a username and login to YouTube. You have to go to youtube.com, get a username and login, and then subscribe to the Scrapbooking Made Simple channel. And once you have your username and login with YouTube, you just type Scrapbooking Made Simple in the search bar at the top, and you'll see my face, and then you click that link and you can subscribe. It's a little red button, it says subscribe. Then you can leave a comment on this YouTube, and you too go into the chance to be a Winner Winner Chicken Dinner. And these 2 great girls are gonna win a nice little assortment of the product I used in last week's YouTube. So are you ready to hear if it's you? Okay, first one's first. Lynn L-Y-N-N. So if you're an L-Y-N, I'm sorry. But if you're an L-Y-N-N, woohoo for you. Last name, Lone? Lone. L-O-H-N-E. Lynn, Lone? Lone? I'm going to go with that. That is you. If that is you, you are a winner chicken dinner. Woohoo, Lynn. Yay for you. You're going to love the glitter markers. Scout's honor. You're going to love them. But you're not the only winner chicken dinner. You have a friend, and her name is Linda. Linda Yazurk. Oh, Y-A-S-U-R-E-K. Linda Yazurki. Oh, I don't know, Linda. It doesn't matter. You're going to sparkle with happiness once you get those glitter markers, I promise you. All right, so Linda and Lynn, what are you going to do to claim your prize? Go to scrapbookingmadesimple.com, look for the link that says winner chicken dinner on our homepage. Click that and follow the directions. And Dale and Kayla will get your prizes out to you just as quickly as possible. We send prizes as time permits, so be patient, bear with us, and in your inbox or in your mailbox, you'll find a little package of sheer yumminess shortly. All right, you guys, Linda and Lynn, congratulations. And now I think I'm going to get started for today. So I have got several dies to show you. I'm going to walk through a few of them. I'm not going to show you how to use every die, but I do have the storyboards that Elena has put together. I have got the beautiful samples that the SMS girls have done, and they are stunning. This collection is a little romantic, a little yummy, a little, I don't know, it's got a very lovely feeling to it. So I hope you like it as much as I do. And then when I'm done showing you the standard collection, which are the 6 dies and the contour, and remember the 6 dies, if you buy all 6 dies in the I Want It All, you get the dies for $10 each, $59.99 for all 6 of the sets. And then the contour die is always sold separately, and the Kaleidoscope die will always be sold separately, just like the must-haves. And yes, there is a must-haves for March, and it's fabulous. All right, I'm going to tilt on down, and I'm going to show you what the make and take is for today, because downstairs I've got a whole group of women down there and some guys playing with these dies, doing a super fun make and take, and it's completely free. You don't bring scissors, you don't bring adhesive, you don't bring paper, you just bring yourself and a can-do attitude, and you join us on a Saturday, every Saturday, until about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, which is when I either get tired, because I start at 9 a.m. and I host the make and take, or until we run out of supplies. So if you're in sunny California anywhere, come join us. We have a wonderful time, and there's snacks. So I'm going to tilt on down for the day. I'm going to say hello, everybody. Welcome to YouTube number 191. And down we go. Down, 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 down. Okay, I'm also going to zoom in a little bit so I can go down a little bit further. Oh, I think that's pretty good. Okay, so this is the make and take that is going on downstairs right now. Super cute. It does involve using one of my Simply Defined Beloved dies, and we have them doing it in a couple different colors so they can pick the color they like the best. Which color do you like the best? I think they're all super cute. So this is our free make and take. And again, gosh, if you're watching this at 9 a.m. and you're in sunny California, come on in. We're still making and taking. And you'll be able to die cut. You make the card from scratch. You put everything together, and you really learn how to use the products that are in the make and take. We don't do it for you. You gotta do it yourself, but that's the best way because you learn. So I'm gonna set these aside for right now. And I think I'm going to bring over the first die that we're gonna play with. And surprisingly enough, it's not the die that I used that I did the make and take with. The first die that we are gonna play with is Wings of Love. And there's a reason why I wanna start with this die. Now, this is a wafer die. See, it's wafer thin. And what I want you to notice is in quite a bit of the die, there's absolutely no cut lines. See this little ridge? There's little ridges around quite a bit of the die, but see this wing? There's no ridges around any portion of that wing. See all those holes? There's no cut line. Unlike around maybe the leaf, there's a cut line. What does that mean to you? Well, where there's a cut line, it's actually going to cut the paper. And where there isn't a cut line, it's going to emboss the paper. And you're like, huh? Okay, so I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna grab a piece of our Coordinations cardstock. And this is a color core cardstock. What do I mean by color core? Well, let's see. Here's a piece of standard cardstock this is 8.5 by 11. It wouldn't matter if it was 12 by 12, but when I tear it, it is the same color all the way through. That is a solid core cardstock when you get the same color all the way through. Then you might have a piece of double-sided paper and printed paper, and when you tear it, it has white in the center. That's called white core cardstock. But Coordinations is a little different. Coordinations, when you tear it, it tears to a different color in the center. That means when you sand it, it's going to sand to a lighter color. So I want to cut this die. I'm going to start with this one, Wings of Love. And you can see it's a larger die, so it's going to take up, this is an A2 size card right here, the paper. So you're going to see it's going to take up quite a bit of your card. It's really a card front all on its own. I'm going to bring over my Big Shot. Now I'm working with my multi-purpose platform, my small version. And we do sell this. This was brought back from Ellison. Sizzix brought this back last year, and it does not come with your standard machine. The long platform comes with your machine. And if you're okay with the long platform, you don't need this. However, about 90%, 95% of the dies I use fit on this platform, and this platform's a little less cumbersome. So it's really up to you. It is an extra purchase. And I want to say it's $29.99. So it may be a great thing to say, oh, wouldn't it be nice to have that smaller multi-purpose platform if you'd like to get it as a gift at some point. So I've got my small multi-purpose platform, and I have got my Do Not Cut plate. My Do Not Cut plate goes down first. Then I've got my die. Ridges face up. See those ridges? Ridges face up. See how this is all flat? There's no ridges on any of that. If I put that down, it's going to cut into my platform or into my Do Not Cut plate. I need those ridges facing me. And then I need my paper face down against my die. And it's face down from the paper that you want to see on your finished project. If this was a pattern paper and that's what I wanted to see on my finished project, that's the way I would put it down towards my die. I would put my pretty paper against my die so it cuts that. Now I'm going to put my cut plate on top. And remember, we use a Do Not Cut plate because we'd like one of our cutting plates to be nice and straight and smooth. So I always use a Do Not Cut plate, even if from the bottom to the top. It doesn't matter if I was cutting a regular die, I would reverse this, and I'll do that later. But I always have one cutting plate that is pretty flat and not warped and not cut into. If you do cut into it, don't worry about it. A couple cuts is not gonna hurt, but you really wanna try to keep it as flat as possible, because what that does is it gives you a very nice surface to go through your Big Shot machine. And of course, if you have a Big Shot, a Big Kick, a Vagabond, a Sizzix Vintage, a Sizzix Fabby, a Sizzix Plus, a Sizzix Pro, a Sizzix Express, or a Cuttlebug, or a Grand Caliber, yes, my dies go through those as well. So, again, my multi-purpose platform, my small one, completely closed, no tabs open, my Do Not Cut plate, my die, ridges face up, my paper with the side I want to see on my finished project face down, and then my clear plate, my cut plate, and I'm going to send it on through. Now you may hear some creaks and some cracks. It's okay. Oh, that was pretty quiet. Oh, there was one. I was like, are you going to make a fibber out of me? Oh, I cut right at the top. I got there just by the hair of my chinny chin chin. All right, so this is what I have. And you can see that it's cut. You can see the cut lines. Now, I want to emboss this die as well, because if I pull this die out, let's just do it and show you. If I pull this die out, it's very pretty, and you may love it this way, but it's very flat. We put detail in to the die so it will accentuate the die. Now you may love it just like that, beautiful and just a flat surface. But let me show you what it looks like when we actually emboss it. So I'm going to cut it again. Should have brought my little Sizzix rolly tool to get all my bits and pieces out, but I think we'll be okay. All right, so let me cut it again. Let me grab another piece of paper, and that way you can see both. And I'm going to use the exact same color so that you can see a side-by-side comparison. All right, send it on back. Die face up. Pretty side of the paper face down. Cut plate on top. And send it on through. And if you want, it's not such an intricate die, but if you want, you can absolutely rotate it and send it on back. If you want to just be sure that it cut all the way through, but being that this isn't a overly intricate die, it should cut on your first pass, but always some, better safe than sorry. Now I'm going to emboss the die. I'm going to emboss it. So I'm at the same place I was last time. If I pulled it out, it would pull out just like that. But I want to add more detail to it. So I'm going to take my multi-purpose platform and I'm going to open it up to tab 1. And I have got my do not cut plate down. I have got my die face up, just as if I had put it through this way. I just moved it this way. I don't want to see the metal. If I can see the metal, I'm doing it wrong. I want to see just the paper. And then I'm going to take my squishy. This is a silicone pad from Sizzix. Does it work with your other machines, your Spellbinders or your Cuttlebug? No. Tools are very specific to the machine that they were made for, because the variance of the rollers in every machine is a little different. So if you have a Sizzix machine, any of them, like I said, the Vagabond, the Big Kick, the Big Shot Pro, the Big Shot Plus, the Big Shot Express, the Sizzix Vintage, the Sizzix Fabby, yes, this will work, absolutely. If you have a Cuttlebug, no, it will not. Now, I call it a squishy for obvious reasons. It used to be black, now it's gray, so it's easier to tell it apart. I put my squishy down, and then instead of another clear plate like we normally do, I'm going to take and use my Knock Knock. Again, obvious reasons why I call it a squishy and a Knock Knock. So I'm going to put them together. And remember, your squishy and your Knock Knock, they're two peas in a pod. You use them together all the time. They're frickin' frack. They're yin and yang. If you're using one, you probably should be using the other. And then I'm going to send it on through. And what's going to happen, so you understand, is that silicone squishy pad, is being pushed into the die, into the negative spaces where there were no cut lines. And it's forcing and embossing. And that squishy is going to grow. You want to see the squishy come out the back end. Can you see my squishy growing? Before you couldn't see it at all. And as I roll through, it's getting longer and longer. That means it's being compressed into that die, forcing that embossing. And the die is meant to do that. One time's enough. Don't have to go back through. Pull it back. My knock knock. Perfect. My squishy. Perfect. Now, some of you have accidentally cut into your squishy. It's okay. It's rubber, it's silicone. It's going to work just fine even if you've cut into it. Don't worry about it. Do they come with your machine? No, they are an additional purchase because you may not want to emboss any of your dies. But if you do, and that includes embossing your spellbinders or your memory box or Simply Defined or Simply Refined or Thinlits, you really need to have this. And they're not expensive. I want to say they're $6.99 each, and we sell it as a complete set. So you get both of them. And so what is that, $13.98 for the two of them? It's not an expensive purchase, but what it does is it will make your heart happy. When you see the results, you will be, it just adds another element to your die cutting. So I'm gonna pull it out. Isn't it nice how nicely it comes out? Makes my heart happy. Okay, so you can already see, hopefully I can get it in the camera. You can already see that there's a difference. There's some embossing onto the wings and all the way around where this one is flat. But where it really makes a difference is when you use a sanding gadget, a sanding block. This is by Coordinations, and the sandpaper comes on and off by Velcro. It comes with, it's very inexpensive, like $3.50, and you get several sheets of the sandpaper, and then the refills are even less expensive. I want to say they're $1.20, $1.25. And when this goes bad, you just buy the refills, and you get like maybe 6 of these, 4 or 6 of these, and like 8 of those in the refill for $1.20. You can't go wrong. I recommend that you use a sanding gadget over going and buying sandpaper or digging out of your husband or your spouse's outside toolbox, because sandpaper grit is very different. In paper, you don't want to use a sandpaper that's too rough on the paper because it will tear. So Coordinations has made a very lovely sanding gadget that works beautifully. It allows you to sand your paper without tearing your paper. Did you see how I turned? So now I wanted to get into the bird, and it's easier for me to use this edge to get into that bird. So when you've got a big edge or a big piece, you can use the full sheet, and when you need to get into something a little more detailed, you can use the smaller. Okay. Just want to get that detail, and I want to get that detail and that one. So pretty easy, but I want to show you the difference. So here it is. Let's see if I can put it against a piece of paper. Here it is, sanded. Can you now see the detail that you get by embossing? Can you see where the detail on the wings has now come up? And there's little dots all the way around the frame. And your leaves have detail versus the plain. Now, it's up to you which one you like better, because you can do both. But I wanted to show you that this die definitely has a detail feature. Look at the tail. So side by side, same die, one embossed, one not. Easy to do. All you need is that squishy and that knock knock to go with it, and almost all of your dies you can use to emboss. Your framelits, well, your framelits, your thinlits, your simply defined, your simply refined, your memory box. There's lots of dies out there that you can use that on and make an embossing feature. Really just very, very pretty and soft and elegant. And I didn't use an embossing folder. It all came from the one die. So this is Wings of Love, and it's part of the Beloved collection. I wanted to show you that one to start with. And then I'm gonna move to my cute little square one. And let's open this one up. So this one's called Distinguished. And it comes with 4 corner dies. It comes with a square framelit, because this is a frame die, and a decor die. A decor die. Now again, what I want you to notice is that there's no cut edge around the outside of this die. So if I was to take this and put this into paper, and this time I am going to use my precision base plate because this die is a little bit more intricate. So what's a precision base plate? Really quickly, this allows you to do very intricate dies, whether they be simply defined, simply refined, or any other manufacturer. If you've got a die that is not cutting well for you and it is intricate, chances are you need a precision base plate. This is a Sizzix product, so again, it will not work with other machines besides a Sizzix branded machine, but it's also the best base plate on the market. It does not warp. It just doesn't. I was so skeptical when these first came in, when SMS dude David showed it to me, and I said, well, I won't carry it if it warps. He's like, ha, 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 ha. He was right, I was wrong. It is a fabulous tool, and because dies now are so much more intricate than they used to be, it really is a necessary tool. And this time I'm going to take my die and I'm going to cut into my precision base plate. I'm going to cut into it. It acts as my bottom cutting plate. So there is no do not cut plate or clear plate down here. My precision base plate acts as my bottom cutting plate, and I know many of you have heard me say, if you can read the directions, you're doing it wrong. I need that metal side facing you. You don't want to be able to read the directions. I need that metal side facing you, because that die is going to grab in there and it's going to cut so much better. And then I can use a cut plate on the top. Actually, you would prefer to use a yucky one. Don't use your good do not cut plate. Why? Because the pressure is a little bit more than a standard roll, and it's going to leave a little impression into your cut plate. So if you don't want to use your pretty do not cut plate, then just use a regular one that you've had around for quite some time, and even if it's cracked, we still use our plates even when they're cracked. So I've done it once. I'm going to rotate 90 degrees and I'm going to send it back. Now what it has done, lots of little pieces, lots of little dots and holes. What it's done is it's cut into the paper. Oh, lots of little dots. What was I thinking? I was thinking, oh, that looks so cute. It's so different when you're designing it out. And then it gets here, it's like, oh, Stacy, you put a lot of detail into this die. But that's what the dies should be. They should be beautiful. They should be beautiful and they should last the test of time. That's what the dies should be. You should be able to go back 5 years from now and pull this die out, and it should be just as pretty then as it is today. So, I could do just that detail. I could. But remember, I have this piece here too. I can put that piece around and cut it out. So, let's do that. Why not? So I'm going to bring over, now this is not an intricate die at all. So I'm going to take my precision base plate off because I don't want to warp my die. I'm going to bring back over my cut plate, which is right here. I'm going to put my die down. I'm going to line up my square. So you don't have to cut this out at all. If you just wanted these on all the corners of your layouts, you could leave them just like that. But I'm going to line up. I think that looks pretty good. Put my do not cut plate on top, and I'm just going to send it on through. And because this is a frame die, I don't need to go back and forth. One roll is going to be more than enough. Now I've cut the die. Now I've cut the die out. And I've actually extracted it and made it a die cut. But we're not done. Remember, I said we had those corners. And we do. I've given you 4 different corners to play with. And you can use these on anything. It doesn't have to be on this die set. You can use these corners on anything you want. You can use the corners all by themselves. It's really up to you and what you want to do. Let's take this one. Now I will tell you, because I gave you 4 corners, it means you're going to have to cut the die 4 times. I could have given you 4 of the exact same corner, and then you would just roll it through. You would line all 4 corners up and roll it through once. But I wanted you to have options. So I gave you 4 corners. Let's see. We will see if we can do opposites, even though they're going to be different, so you get the idea. All right. I think that that is pretty good. And I'm going to send it on through. Bring over my machine, and then look at the little piece that it spits out. Super cute, huh? And if I want to just give it a quick rotate, I can. And now what do I have? I've got detail. Cut into my corners. See the detail? So if I did all 4 of them, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. But we're not done yet, because we still have this piece to go back to. And let's say I just wanted to cut that piece out. Bring my machine over, line it up, send it through just once. And now I have made a perfect background that fits beautifully. But again, we're not done. Let's take let's take a totally different color. Totally different color. And let's grab our cute little corners. And this time I am going to pull all 4 of them so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to cut my frame right out. Again, I'm on my multi-purpose platform. It doesn't matter if you have the large one or the small one. The small one tends to be a little handy, but if you've got the large one that comes with your machine, it's going to work just fine. And in case you didn't know, I'm on my non-stick craft mat. Non-stick. I need to tell you, when you get your non-stick craft mat, there is this backing piece to it that peels right off. You can throw that piece away. That's not the piece that makes it stick. But see how my non-stick craft mat, it doesn't move. Now it's not glued down. It's not glued down at all. It just has a beautiful backing on it that keeps it from slipping and sliding all over. So that's exclusive to us. That's my Simply Refined craft mat. And it keeps everything from slipping and sliding. So if I'm inking, my mat's not going like this. If I'm die cutting, my mat's not going like this. That's how this mat came to be. I needed to stop taping my mat down. So we just figured out how to do it, so I didn't have to tape my mat down anymore. All right, so now I've got my little square, and now I can do my corners on this piece. And again, I'm gonna show you 4 different corners only because I'm not gonna run it through 4 times, so you have the same corner all the way through. But, ooh, almost lost it. Hoo-hoo. But I think, you know what? I think you'll get the idea. And I think I'm going to rotate these because you've got 2 that are a little bit larger and 2 that are a little bit smaller. All 4 designs are different. Let's bring over our machine again. So if you were to do all 4 corners the same, the spacing would be perfect. But we've given you a couple different sizes on the corners. And let's roll it on through and bring it back. And it's cut beautiful detail. So you don't have to use the center die at all. You could just use this piece all by itself and then stamp something in the middle. Put a sentiment in there, happy birthday, to and from. You don't have to use the center die at all. You can. And you could cut out the light purple and make it line up perfectly so that all you would have is that light purple behind it. And then what I want you to know is about that center piece. So lots of options with this die. And again, the corners can be used with anything. It does not have to be used with this die by itself. They're meant to be used on all of your projects and your cards and your layouts and your mixed media and your altered art. I wanted to give you lots and lots of options. But then there's this center piece right here, this opening, and you're like, well, what would I put in that opening? If you purchased from my Victorian Proper collection, the monogram die cut set, which was a contour die, and it was all monograms. The monograms will fit in that center, so you can make a monogram. It's so beautiful. And I can already hear you say, but Stacy, I didn't get the monograms in the Victorian Proper set, and now they are sold out, which they are because my dies are one and done. Okay, I have a solution for you. Easy solution. Sizzix. Sizzix makes 2 beautiful monogram sets of stamps. They make 2 sets. Well, this is the prettier package. I've opened that one and been playing with it. But they make 2 beautiful sets of stamps, and they are both by friends of mine. This one's by Jen and this one's by Linda. Hi, girls. So if you don't have my monogram set, my contour die from Victorian Proper, but you have stamps, you can use them in that space. And if you don't, these are $9.99 and they're going to be 30% off, these two. So that makes it $7. Holy smokes, artichokes. I want to show you how to make it work. I think I am going to use a little bit of white paper. So I'm going to pull one of my card bases and tear one of my card bases. Shh. You know what? Maybe I'll do, well, I don't know what I want to do, but let's just cut it real quick so I can show you. Or let's go ahead and cut that and attach that. I'm gonna do it that way so I can show you. So I'm gonna cut the background super fast. Easy peasy. That's how you know that these are not scripted and not edited. Things happen on the fly. So let's go through. Got my cut. Easy peasy mac and cheesy. I would put that on there. There we go, because it fits perfectly. And then instead of die cutting that little piece out, what if I was to take and make a little diamond shape? Okay, probably not the best at freehanding, and it's a little big still. I could take a diamond shape and put a diamond shape in there and stamp it. Okay, so let's stamp. The first one I'm gonna do, oh, I don't have my gush mat. Holy smokes, artichokes. All right, well, we're gonna go without a gush mat today. I'm gonna ink up my letter L, like in Laverne and Shirley, and it almost looks like that L that Laverne had on her shirts, on her little sweaters and cardigans. Shamil, Shamazel, Hoff and Pep Incorporated. Oh, I'm not supposed to say that. Oh! Okay, so if this YouTube gets pulled, it's because I did the Laverne and Shirley without permission. I'm just gonna stamp. So now I have got a cute little monogram in there, which you can make into a darling little note card and make somebody just the cutest little set of note cards and bundle them up, 5 of them, and give it to them. But I also could use, and again, my triangle is not the best of triangle, my diamond is not the best of diamonds, but let's see if I can get it any better. Yeah, not so much. I think it's a little long. Oh, okay, there we go. So I could also pop. This time, let's use a different letter. Let's use the G. For goodness gracious, Stacy. Yes, that's what our G is for. Goodness gracious. I have to tell you, I have 2 boys. I have 2 sons. No daughters. But if I had a daughter, her name would have been Olivia Grace. So G for Grace. Okay, so now I've got my cute little diamond in there. And I can stamp away. Can't believe I forgot my gush mat, but I did. And then I could take my clean color pen or whatever pen you just happen to have handy, because some of the monograms are open and some of the monograms are solid. And I'm just gonna go in there and color that G. So now I'm gonna get emails by people who are named Olivia Grace. that I have 2 boys named after their grandpa and their dad. All right. So I can put it all together. And if I wanted to, I could add that little diamond. I would cut it a little bit better. We've got some samples where it's cut lovely. And put it in there to make a monogram. Or I could stamp directly on the back. There is a tremendous amount to be done with this one set because there's so many pieces and so many different combinations that you are able to do. Just a world of things that you can do with this one set. And I really love it for that. I do. I really love it for that. Look at, I can line those 2 up. If I had cut the same 4 around, it would line up perfectly and it would just leave this in the blue. You just have so many different options and an easy way to play because it's only paper. You're just cutting paper. Go grab some scraps and start cutting and seeing all the combinations that you can do. And you can keep those combinations so you don't forget about them. You can keep them with the die. But I love this set. It's one of my favorites because of how much you can do with it. Okay, so I'm gonna move some of this stuff out of my way. And in the back of the set, we try to give you some of the combinations that you can do. But of course, there is just so much more that you can do. Okay, and that is from the Beloved collection, and it is Distinguished is the name of the die. I'm gonna move my inks out of the way and put my lid back on because now we're gonna move to the contour die. And keep in mind that the contour die is always sold separately. It is not part of the I Want It All bundle. For those of you who don't know what the I Want It All bundle is, it takes all 6 sets. The 6 sets. I've got storyboards to show you on all of these. And instead of $13.99 for a die, yeah, I know, $13.99 is still a really, really super great price. But if you buy it all, you get it for $59.99. All of it brings them down to $10 a set, which we all know on the market that is, we're trying to keep crafting affordable here. So on the market, you know that that's a really great price. Here is the contour die for this month. And again, it is 2 edges. So we always try to give you either 1 full A2 die or 2 to make up edges, and they're beautiful. So you can see them on the back. So how do these work? Okay, so I'm going to use this one, and I am going to grab one of my card bases. So this is a simply defined card base. It is an A2 card, so the most common card that we use here in the US, and it is 200-pound paper. So very, very, very heavy. When you feel them, most people think that there's actually 2 of them together, but there's not, it's just 1. Now, the contour die is definitely intricate. Most of my dies are very intricate. This die and its mate, the heart, is definitely going to require a precision base plate. If you try to cut this without a precision base plate, you're going to be rolling back and forth many, many times. And I'm still not sure it will cut all the way out. So I've got my card base laying flat. I've got my precision base plate. I've got my multi-purpose platform completely closed. It's not open on any tabs. And I'm going to put my die face down. Now I need the die to be all the way on the card base. If I do it like this, then those little bottom pieces down here aren't going to cut. You're going to lose that from the card. So you need to be sure that it's high enough so that the entire die is on the card base. But if you want this to be higher, you can move it all the way up. What's going to happen is it's going to get rid of all of this paper down here and cut your design here. Most people want it right on the edge. right where it just, that bottom just hits the bottom of the card base. So I'm gonna put it in, and I'm going to get my Yucky cut plate because I don't want to use a pretty one because I'm using the precision base plate, and it's going to add more pressure to the die so that it cuts better. And you may hear some creaks and some cracks. Oh yeah, I know. But it'll roll through. The creaks and cracks are okay. And then I am going to do a rotate. I'm going to do a rotate. Why did I rotate the entire thing? Because I can't rotate the paper. It's too wide. If you have a plus machine or a pro machine, then you can do a 90-degree rotate, and this will still go through your machine. But on a standard Big Shot, I needed to do a 180 rotate and send it on back. And you may be saying, but why do I need to rotate it? Well, if the die goes through one time and your rollers are, everybody's machine is a little bit different, and the more you use it, the looser the machine gets. But everybody's machine has a different sweet spot. So if you roll it through the first time and it cuts certain areas, but it didn't cut something over here, and you roll it back, chances are it's still not going to cut what's over there. But if you rotate it, then the die hits the machine in a brand new way, and you have a better chance of it cutting all the way through. And if you want to be 100% certain, you can roll it through a third time just to be sure. Oh, that was loud, but that's okay. My dies are intricate. There's no question about it. Okay. Let's get that in there. So you can see it's cut all the way through. This is just going to come right off. And then all of this is going to start to pop out and fall out. Yes, there are a lot of pieces to pop, but that's okay. It's worth it. It'll take you just a few seconds. Most of them, if you flick it, most of them will fall out if you give a good flick. And what you get is a beautiful edge die. Yeah, I know. Give me just a half a second. I just want to get them all out. I'm just that way. And my little fussy tweezers are doing a fine job. Just pushing them all out. If you have your little Sizzix die brush and the foam pad that goes with it, you can absolutely use that too. Okay. So I'm going to throw all of this away and get rid of all of that and show you this, because it really is, I think, very pretty and very romantic and soft and elegant. What do you think? So you can use it this way, or you can use it this way. What do you think? And that's just one of them. Don't forget, you have the other heart as well. You have the other heart to use as well. But the reason I wanted to show you this one is because, do you see that center? That center is also perfect to use your Victorian proper monogram dies. They were made to go in the center. But I understand you don't have any. I get it. I got it. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those Sizzix stamp sets, and you may already have a monogram set at home. You may already have letters that you can use. And the nice thing about it is that if you want the monogram here, probably get 2 letters in there without much trouble. I can put it there. And then just give it a little bit of color so you can see it. And I'm just using clean color pens from Kuretake. You can use whatever you have to color it in. I just want to give it a little color for you. You could stamp it with Versamark and emboss it. So there. But it also fits, by the magic of TV, it also fits this way. So I could have my card this direction, or I could have my card this direction. Your monogram is going to fit both. The Victorian Proper monogram is going to fit. The two Sizzix monogram stamp sets that we have are going to fit. And quite honestly, especially this way, you can probably get 2 letters in there without any problem. So if you wanted a first and last name. But this is the contour die for Beloved, the February release. And again, it has a friend. It's not alone. It has a friend. Let me see if I can cut this one super fast. Move my ink out of my way, move my scissors and my tweezers, move my stamp. Multi-purpose platform, long or small, makes no difference. Precision base plate, die. Yucky cut plate on the top, send it on through. You might hear some creaks and you might hear some cracks. That's okay, don't worry. Send, 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 send. Come on, there we go. Tight, tight, tight. Ooh, really tight. All right, there we go. And I can feel my handle is coming off my machine, I think. I need to get my little wrench, my little Phillips, or no, what do they call an Allen wrench that comes with your machine, and tighten up my handle. Rotate. Now when you send it on back, it's always going to be easier because it's already been compressed. It's already compressed down. See, much easier. And if you really want to, you can send it through one more time. It's really up to you if you just want to be absolutely certain. You're gonna find with the Sizzix Big Shot that it is just, oh my gosh, look at how beautiful it cut. It's just a workhorse. It does what you want it to do when you want it to do it. And if you use the wrong platform or you open it up, it won't let it go through. It tells you, oh no, honey, that's not gonna work. Oh my gosh. Isn't that a happy moment when you do that and they all come out? I'm making some serious confetti here, but we're celebrating the February release. Oh my gosh, this is such a pretty die. I hope you like it. Oh, I just never know. I do what I love, and I hope you love them too. I can only do what's in my heart, and that's what comes out. So let's fold it. Oh, it's beautiful. What do you think? So you could, same die. It is not sold with the I Want It All. It is a separate die, and it's $15.99, but you get both of these. And of course this one, well, you could do it this way. You could do this one, you could do this way. So it's up to you how you want to orientate your card. But I hope you like them. That is the contour die for February. And again, it's sold separately. So if you love it, love it, love it, it's $15.99. And when we are sold out, we are sold out. And those of you who have been with me long enough know we sell out. They're just pretty. Okay, so what did I show you? I showed you The first die, where we used the embossing, we used the squishy and the knock-knock, and we used sandable paper, and we sanded it and we embossed it to show you two totally different looks out of the same die. And again, if you do the I Want It All, this die is only 10 bucks. It's $13.99 if you just love this die. If this is the only one you want, it's still only $13.99. So I hope you like that. This is using the squishy and the knock-knock, remember? Yin and yang, two peas in a pod. Okay, so then we also played with the square die that allows you to do so many different things. It allows you to make the most darling little note cards or table settings. You could score this in half and you could make a cute little table setting, just saying, or you could score this one in half and make a cute little pup tent, or you could score this in half and have a bag of candies hanging from it. There's so much to do. It's just the perfect size for those little things that you need, where you don't want a full-size card, but you just need a little something something. And this will let you do that little something something with so many different options. And again, if you've got the Victorian proper monogram, then you've got even more options with it. So we worked with that die, and then we worked with the contour edges, which gives you that beautiful finished edge and the two different edges that come with the set. Okay, now I'm going to move on to the Kaleidoscope die. And there is a story about the Kaleidoscope die, and I'm still not going to say, I'm going to wait till the very end of the YouTube to tell you that story. But I'm going to bring over the Kaleidoscope die. The first thing you need to know is that this die is made to go through your Big Shot machine. You do not need anything special to work it. Well, you need the precision base plate, but you don't need a wide machine. You can just use your standard Big Shot or Big Kick machine. The die is an A2 die, which means it perfectly fits an A2 card base, which is what I've been using. That's the same card base that the contour dies work with. This is a layering die. I need to tell you, this is a labor of love. This die, this collection has been in the works for quite some time. And it had to be an A2 card size. It had to fit a standard card size. It had to. It was mandatory for me to do it. It had to fit your standard card size. But when we were in production, when we were in the design of this die, the template size was too small. Template size was a little bit short, and we couldn't get all three of the layering dies to fit on the template, not even if we rotated it. So we had to make the template bigger. We had to make the template wider so that the A4 dies could line up perfectly. That means that this is a larger template than what you are used to seeing out there. I needed to be able to get it onto one die, so you didn't have to buy 3 different dies to make one card. I needed it to be on this size template so that I could bring it to you for the $29.99 that we do our must-haves and we do our contour pluses with Simply Refined. I needed it to be the same price, and to do that the die had to be made bigger, and God bless Ellison's Pea Pickin' Heart because they did it for me. They made the die wider so I could give you all 3 dies in one set instead of $13.99, $13.99, $13.99. But what that did is that gave me a whole nother panel to work with. I got to put a whole nother die set here, which is like a freebie. It was a freebie. And so I've given you gatefold, which I would never be able to do. I would never be able to do this on a contour size die like this, because you need both sides. You can't rotate and flip. You need both sides. So you're getting 4 A2 dies for $29.99. You do not have to buy 1, 2, 3, 4 separately. It's all for the one low price. And they are a layering die. What does that mean, a layering die? Well, there's layer 1. This is a bottom layer. And this is the foundation of your set. This is the foundation of your set. This is the first die you cut. Then you have the next layer, which lays right on top of that, and it adds the detail. Then you have the third layer, which lays right on top of that to add the finishing work. And it was really supposed to be just these 3 dies for the $29.99, which is an exceptional value because we all know how much an A2 die can cost. I know that there are layering dies out there that are substantially more, and they're beautiful, they are. But for me to be able to do them, I had to be able to keep it at that $29.99 price point. And there's your bonus die. Every Kaleidoscope die, and there is 6 of them a year, there'll be 6 this year, will have that bonus die. So I'm gonna cut the base die. And I'm gonna use a piece of paper that's slightly bigger just so you can see. So I've got a piece of paper, maybe I'll use the dark. I've got a piece of paper here, and I'm going to trim the paper down to just a little bit bigger than my bottom die. You absolutely, positively must have a precision base plate to make this die work. This die is very, very intricate, and it is called Sandra's Bouquet because the Kaleidoscope collection is done with my mom. And my mom's name, you know, my whole life, my mom was known as Sandy. I've known my mom for 48 years, and she's always been Sandy. Everybody has always called her Sandy. It's on her driver's license, Sandy. And when I was having to put her things in order because my mom has psychotic depression and dementia, I had to get her things in order so I could take care of her. Lo and behold, okay, holy smokes, artichokes. Lo and behold, her name is Sandra. What? My whole life she's been Sandy, but my mom's name is Sandra. So this die is Sandra's Bouquet, and I'm going to send it on through. And I would recommend that you twist it just a little bit, give it just a little bit of an angle, because it's going to feed through the roller easier than if you try to do a solid straight line cut. And when you do a straight line straight across, it makes this loud thud. So if you put it slightly on an angle, it's going to feed into the machine a little bit easier. Oh, it didn't make any noise at all. Then I'm going to rotate, and I'm going to send it back. Well, there's some cuts. That's a good sound. You want to know that it's cutting. And if you just want to be 100% certain, because it is a very detailed die, you could send it back one more time. It is a very detailed. Oh, see? That sounds yummy. That's what we want to hear. So my edge came right off. And then you start pulling out your bits and pieces. I will tell you that there are a lot of bits and pieces in this die, and some of you, now they fall out beautifully. You can see that it's not taking anything to get them out. They come out super easy, but just when you think you've poked them all out, just when you think you've got them all out, lo and behold, you'll see one more that you forgot. So remember, you love this die. You just have to go through and just poke them out. They fall out super easy, no problem, but there are a lot of pieces to it. Now this is the bottom die, And this die has the most area to it. And I haven't pulled them all out. I have one here. I have a bottom die here. Oh, no, this one. I have a bottom die here that I have poked all the bits and pieces out of. There's the bottom die. Now you can use this die all by itself. You don't have to use it with anything else. You could just cut this die and it's beautiful all by itself, and it's beautiful in both directions. So that gives you one die. Then, remember I said it's a layering die. Then there's the next level. There's the next die, which is this one. And this one doesn't have as much. It has more of a framework around to add detail. So, make sure I've got the right one. Yep. So this one's going to add just a bit of framework. And if you layer that up, you've now got just a little bit of framework going around your bottom die. But again, this die is beautiful all on its own. You don't need to use it with anything else. You could just use this die all by itself. It's beautiful just on its own. Or you can add it to the top of your, see, and there's another one. Holy smokes, artichokes. I thought I got them all. You can add it to the top of your base die. And it puts that detail in. And it frames everything out. But then we have one more die that adds the final touches to it. And again, it layers right on top. And it just, now you've got that dark purple acts as a shadow to my light purple top. And it fills everything in. And when you've got it all glued down, it layers so perfectly and it layers so beautifully. And it is called Kaleidoscope. The collection is called Kaleidoscope because no matter what you do or what paper you use, you can change the look of it by changing the paper or by changing the layering. I could use just, I showed you earlier, I could just use die 1 and die 2 and have that much layering. I could use die 1 and die 3 and have a finer detail of layering. That lined up. Finer detail of layering. I could not use die 1 at all and just use die 2 and die 3. And that dark purple die, that layer 2, adds a shadow to the top die. I could just use die 1 all by itself, die 2 all by itself, or die 3. And I could use them in a vertical or horizontal. And I could mix up the colors as much as I want. But this is Kaleidoscope. Sandra's bouquet. And while I know my mom won't remember it, I know in that moment when she saw it, she was proud. Because it's probably one of the prettiest things I've ever done. I have got beautiful samples, but of course that's not the end of it. Then we gave you the gatefold too. And the gatefold, I'm going to show you one of Doris's cards real quick. The gatefold is just perfect, and it's meant for an A2 card. It fits corner to corner. The gatefold. And that comes with the set. So I hope when you look at this, you can see not only the value that was put into it to keep crafting affordable for everybody, but the love in the design. And you don't need a special machine. It's just like the must-haves. You can use your Big Shot or Big Kick or Vagabond, or your vintage machine, your big vintage Big Shot machine. You can use all of those. And you have 1, 2, 3 dies that work together, 3 dies that work independently of each other, or making combinations of any sort. And then, because we had to make the template bigger so that they all were A2 size, you have the free gatefold for $29.99. If you don't love this, I'm in big old trouble. Because I ordered a lot. Okay. So that is the Kaleidoscope die. It is a layering die. It will release every other month. The next Kaleidoscope will be in April. They are a one and done. When they are gone, they are gone. So if you love it, please don't wait to buy it. I don't want to disappoint anybody when they're sold out. So I've got beautiful, beautiful, beautiful samples. Beautiful samples. Yes, I know you're still waiting for the Kaleidoscope story. And I guess I'm going to show you some samples from the girls first. I'm going to do the storyboards first, and then the very last thing I do will tell you the Kaleidoscope story. So if you're still not with me, if you've left me already, then I'm so sorry you won't hear the Kaleidoscope story. All right, so we've got Distinguished, which was the second die I used, and here's the storyboard that Elena has put together for you. So you can see all the different combinations. Now she rolled it through four times so you could see the different combinations. All the different things that you can do with one set. That's all of this all you see came out of this one little set for $13.99 or $10 if you do the I Want It All. So there's Distinguished. Then we have Heart's Desire and Family Begins. So here's Family Begins. It's the beautiful, beautiful calla lilies. And family, where life begins and love never ends. So you get all of those words along with the die. And that's Family Begins. And again, this is also, I love this whole collection. Here we have Heart's Desire, and you can see how the die cuts. It's got a little heart kind of hidden in there, and the words blessing and be blessed. So that's Heart's Desire, and that is both of these dies. So you can see all the words that you get. So you can make up lots of different combinations of words if you have, or sayings if you have all the sets. Then we have I Adore You and Listen. So the I Adore You is what could be considered a corner die, but Elena put 2 of them together to show you how you could make an A4 or an A2 die. And then all the words that come with this die. So I adore you, with love, are invited, we miss for, there's just tons of words. And here she's put together some of the phrases, some of the sentiments you can put together if you have this one die. Just this die will give you I miss you, you are invited, for you, we adore you, I adore you, I love you, with love, for love, we love you, we miss you. All of those words are in this one set. So you can make all of those sentiments and more. And then we've got Listen to Your Heart, which is a beautiful vintage frame. And the words Listen to Your Heart will fit inside. So, listen to your heart. And I adore you. Yes, yes, I adore you. Which can also go this way. You can run this die either way. Same here, you can run this die 2 different directions. Then we have the contour die and Wings of Love. And Wings of Love was the one that I showed you first, where you can do it plain, you can do it embossed, you can even just stencil. And then the contour die that we played with. And on the back, we're sure to show you the difference. Then we have Kaleidoscope, Sandra's bouquet. I know it's big, but trust me, it will go through your machine. So on the outside, this is the gatefold. So you can do this gatefold, you can do this gatefold. You can just cut them separately, and here you go. Here's your complete gatefold. And then we have more. So you can see die 1, die 2, die 3. You can see them all completely layered together. You can see them separately, like this one. This one's die 2 and die 3 or die 1 and die 2 put together. And this looks like die 1 and die 3 put together. And this one is die 1, 2, and 3 put together. And then you've got them all by themselves and different ways you can do your gatefold. $29.99 for this die. It is sold separately and it is a one and done. So if you love it, I hope you love it. I've never ordered so many dies. This is the biggest thing I've ever done. So I hope you love it. All right, now I'm gonna show you some samples of the girls, and then finally we will get to the story. And you've been patient, God bless your pea pickin' heart, but there is a reason I'm leaving it to the very last thing I do. So here is Distinguished. Oops. And here's another one of Distinguished. Yvette made lots of them. She had fun. Where we did not use the monogram, here she's put a beautiful little picture in the center. How cute are these from that one die? And this one is probably my favorite. And here she has put the little triangle that I was attempting to do in the center with the monogram, with the beautiful corners. It's a darling card. I love this card. So that's all part of the make and take. Now we have Yvette's cards from the collection. So this is Yvette. And she's got beautiful glittered paper and Miss You. And then this is Yvette's. This is Yvette's Kaleidoscope, Sandra's bouquet. And you can see all the layering and all the detail in one die. And down at the bottom she has Love You, or Love Life. But she could have turned the die this way too. And just with a simple change of paper, that's why we're calling it Kaleidoscope. With a simple change of paper, everything changes. Everything changes. Here's Elena. Now Elena, remember, she does all the storyboards. Look at how cute is that. And she's used the must-have ovals to cut out the oval. She's used the must-haves, which unfortunately are sold out, I think. I'm so sorry. So this is Elena. Here is Elena's contour. So she's cut it 4 times to make an envelope. And then she's got distinguished in the middle with love. This is the contour die. This is the heart. And it all folds up nice and pretty. And then she just ran a little bit of ribbon through it. And what a beautiful card. What a beautiful invitation. Are you thinking about doing wedding invitations? This is a fabulous die to do it with. It is the contour die. And then Elena's Kaleidoscope. She did a shaker box. She's done a shaker box on an easel card. This is her Kaleidoscope. All the layering. She did several pieces of acetate. So she layered each layer onto a piece of acetate and then shakered it. I don't know if I can get a good enough image. I don't think you can appreciate the beauty of this unless you come into the store and see it for yourself. Okay, so then we have Sharon. With my glimmer sheets. Beautiful, isn't it? And so simple and so cute. Again, with glimmer sheets straight onto a card base. No extra paper. Straight to a card base. And then here is Sharon's. Now Sharon orientated hers a different way. She did a horizontal card with the Kaleidoscope. And all you have to do is layer. That's it. Just layer. Let the die do the work. You pick the colors. And it's paper so you can play. That's Sharon. And this is her Kaleidoscope die, her Sandra's bouquet. Then we have Kathy. And Kathy has put together, she's cut a bit and piece out of, she cut up this die, the I Adore You, and she mounted it onto a candle. Cute, huh? She just took a bit of it. She didn't use the whole die. She took a piece of it to get that out. Super clever, super cute. And then we have Kathy. And again, she's got Blessed, Adore. She's got the roses down here where she left the pieces in. And as opposed to pulling them out, she left them all in. And made just a beautiful little 8x8 page. That's Cody, SMS dude Cody. And that's his girlfriend. Cute page, Kathy. Cute couple. And then we have Kathy's Kaleidoscope. Her Sandra's bouquet. And you can see the glitter. That's glitter paper that she cut with die number 2. That's Sandra's bouquet Kaleidoscope by Simply Defined. Then we have Michelle. And Michelle did it completely different. And she used pinks and black and glimmer sheet on the background and white paper. There's her Kaleidoscope die, which is a complete contradiction. I mean, it doesn't look anything like anybody else's. They all look so differently because it just depends upon what paper you use. Here she's used the contour die with paper leather. She made a cute little notebook. How darling is that? She embossed it. This is my Simply Refined embossing folder. And here she started this one. But she's been sick. She's been out for almost a whole week. She started this one but didn't get it finished. And then she's got her Wings of Love. That's Michelle. Then we go to Belinda. And I guess this is the new rage, these pocket things. Guessing that these pocket things are the newest rage? And you just fill it up with all sorts of stuff and give it to somebody. All sorts of tags. Belinda's used all the dies on the tags. She just had way too much fun. She's got so much going on here. So much going on. She just had a great time doing this. You've got All my dies incorporated throughout the whole thing. Big things often have small beginnings. Oh, I like that. Big things often have small beginnings. Oh, that's very good. I like that. So this is Belinda, and I guess these are the latest rage right now, doing these little pocket gifts and just filling it with a whole bunch of goodness. And then Belinda also did for Doris the mixed media. And that's Catherine, when Catherine was a little bit younger. But she's used this corners, the floral, she's used the monogram, she's used the contour as the crown. She cut the heart contour and did it twice to make it doily. And then she put on the back, made for Doris from Belinda. Makes my heart so happy. Then we have Claire. And Claire has got Claire has used, again, she's used the contour die and she made it into a gatefold. And then her center. And she used the corners. Corners didn't come with any of the, this is one die, this is from another set, and then the contour is its set all on its own. This is Claire. And then this is Claire. And this time she did the doves, or the birds, out of patterned paper as well. So this is Claire. And I love this one. This one she heat embossed. She just cut plain paper, Versamark all over it, and threw down some, looks like some Stampendous Frantage embossing powder that has that glitter in it, and it's a little chunky. How beautiful is that? And then Claire also did her mixed media piece, where she has used a bottle. I don't know what's in the bottle or what was in the bottle, but she's done a beautiful, oh, the foil bent. She's done a beautiful mixed media piece using Kaleidoscope. And she used foil so it wrapped right around the bottle. And she painted and distressed the bottle, probably with maybe a Viva decor. But how cute is that? This is Claire and her mixed media piece. But this time she did two. Maybe that's altered art and this is mixed media. What does it say? And she was fair as the rose in May. Oh my gosh, Claire. She's got the die. She's got it. She clipped off that little heart too out of that piece. She's used all sorts of beautiful elements of the dies into her altered art mixed media piece. This is Claire. And then last we have Doris. So Doris, I already showed you her gatefold. And she's popped her birds and she has sanded them and put them against. So she just free-handed them out, cut them out. But this is Doris. And clever how she's closed her gatefold. Can you see that? She's added two pieces of paper. And so the gatefold slips right into one and closes. This is Doris. I showed this one on Facebook today. And this is the vintage frame. Now she cut out some of the center of it. And with you, love never ends. And you get all of those words. So this is Doris. Did she put anything in here? No, miss you. So there's the frame in its entirety. It goes across and around, and it can be done either way, vertically or horizontally, and she's got miss you. Here is her Kaleidoscope. Oh, there we go. Here's her Kaleidoscope. Sandra's Bouquet. And I Adore You. And then she took and double cut the contour die. Make sure that there's nothing in. She took and double cut the contour die so that you made a doily. And again, it can go either way, whichever way you want your card. But this is Doris. And last but not least from Doris is her 12 by 12 layout, of course, of Catherine when she was younger. Look at that. Doris says they were ice skating, and Catherine stopped her ice skates and some of the and blew ice up on her dad, on Fred, and was like, ha! But Doris has used the contour dies all the way around. She's used it at the top. She used Victorian Proper as the monogram. She split it down here. So she's got the frame here. She just incorporated absolutely everything. So, ha! Okay, that's the last sample I have. And if you're still with me, I'm now going to tilt up and I'm going to talk to you about the kaleidoscope. So this is the very first kaleidoscope I've ever been given. It has marbles in there, and it was handmade, and you can slip the marble out and you can slip the marble back in, and then you look, and if you change the marbles or if you rotate it, of course, everything changes. Whew. Okay, so it started when I was 17 years old, and this was before Mr. SMS knew that I was going to be Mrs. SMS. This was before Michael had caught on to the fact that I was the girl for him. And at that time I had a boyfriend, and his name was Shannon. And I've given a lot of thought whether I should tell you his name or not, and I'm just going to tell you the story in the best way I can. So, his name was Shannon Stephen Smith, and he was born September 4th, 1965. And he has a twin brother, Sean. I was 17 years old, and he was 20, and he was very close with my family, and he went to our high school, Canyon, but then he obviously graduated and he moved down to Encino off of Coldwater Canyon, and that's where he lived with his mom and his twin brother. And my parents were really worried that we were getting a little too serious a little too quickly. And so after months of dating, they said, you know what, we'd like you two to kind of take a little break from each other, because we're a little concerned that she's 17 and, you know, you're going to be 21, and it's getting a little too serious a little too quick. Now, my parents didn't ask us to break up. They asked us to take a separation, and I understand why they did that, because now I'm a parent of a 14-year-old and a 15-year-old. But at the time, that was more than Shannon could deal with. And so he called me, and this was back when we had, you know, a touch-tone phone, and it was on the wall, and it, you know, not like what we have today. And he called me, and he had said, don't be surprised if you see my name in the papers. And I hung up and I called his mom, and I said, you have to get home. She was at work, and I was here in Santa Clarita, and I was 17 and I didn't have a car. You have to get home. You have to get home. And so she drove home, and I called back at the minute that she had found him, and he had committed suicide. So I remember dropping the phone, and I remember screaming, and I remember my mom and dad running in, not knowing what had happened. And I just remember spinning out of control, and I remember almost going through our plate glass window where our sliding glass door was. And I remember my dad yelling, call 911, because they didn't know what was wrong with me. They didn't know what had happened. So call 911, and they show up, and by that time my parents understand that Shannon has committed suicide, and my parents say, take her to the hospital. So they load me into the ambulance, and they take me to the hospital, into the emergency room to sedate me. And I remember being in the emergency room, and the doctors coming in saying, we heard the call. Now, mind you, When something horrible has happened, you make every deal with God you possibly can. You pray, and you say, I will be a better person. I will be a good kid. I won't give my parents any problems. I will go to school. I will do right. Just make him okay. Make this okay. You make a deal with God. You try to make a deal with God, but God's got his own plan. But at 17, I didn't understand that. So I'm in the emergency room, and I'm in a curtained off area, and the doctor walks in and he says, we heard the call about your boyfriend, and he's going to be okay. He's going to be okay. So you're thanking God for listening to you, and now you have to live up to those deals that you made, but you are relieved, and you have hope again. And unfortunately, about an hour later, they came back in and they said they had made a mistake, that Shannon had died on arrival. And of course, that sent me right back into a tailspin again, because for that hour I lived in hope. And so they sedated me, and I was in the hospital for a day until I could come home. And unfortunately, Shannon's mom, in her grief, and I cannot imagine the grief that she had, she blamed me for his passing. She blamed me for his suicide, because I was his girlfriend, and you know what? I don't judge her, and I'm not mad, and I'm not angry, and I can't be. I wasn't in her shoes at that time, and that grief had to have been so overwhelming. I know what it was for me, and I wasn't his mom. So I wasn't allowed to go to the funeral, and I never saw them again. I never saw Sean, and I never saw his mom, and I never was able to collect the things, the little trinkets and mementos that I had at Shannon's house, and I have nothing left to show for him and my relationship. I don't have anything left. And so this is where the kaleidoscope comes in. Shannon died the day before Thanksgiving, 1985, and I had just turned 17. And it was a really dark time, and like I said, I can't believe I'm sharing this. So my mom and I were down visiting my grandma, and she lived right outside of Beverly Hills, and there's Westwood Village there, where UCLA is, and there was a craft fair going on. And my mom said, let's just go walk around, which was not really like my mom, but okay, let's go. So we went down to Westwood Village, and they had, little vendors there selling everything from jams to beef jerky to kaleidoscopes. And my mom said, here, come look at this. And she held it up, and there was beautiful kaleidoscopes, and she held this one up, and she said, Stacy, what do you see? I said, Mom, it's a kaleidoscope. No, Stacy, what do you see? She said, look through it. So I did. I looked through it, and I rolled the ball and the marble, and she said, what do you see? And I see, well, I see colors, Mom, I see patterns, it's very pretty, but, and she said, look at it again and roll the marble again. And what do you see? I said, I see something different, Mom. She says, right, you see something different. Because that's kind of how life is, Stacy. When things are dark and hard, you roll the marble, and in an instant it can change. My mom was not, my dad was the one to instill all the wisdom and the advice, but my mom said, look and roll the marble, and things will change. It will not be this dark for you forever. And when it is, roll the marble, Stacy, and make it change. So you hold the kaleidoscope to the light, and you sometimes have to change the marble to make it change enough. But that's where the kaleidoscopes came from. They're from my mom. And through my life, she has given them to me when things have been hard or dark to remind me that all you have to do is move the marble. Because life doesn't stay the same. It changes, and sometimes it changes for the good and sometimes it changes for the bad. But it doesn't stay constant. It doesn't have to stay constant, and you don't have to live in that darkness forever. So when it was time to design the line, and I came up with the kaleidoscope idea, the first one had to be from my mom, Sandra's bouquet. Because she moved the marble for me when I couldn't. And maybe some of you know who I'm talking about. Shannon and Sean Smith. And I know that this is hard, and maybe some of you have turned it off already because it is just too close to home to watch. I get that too. This is hard. But you wanted to know the story. And I'm able now to tell you, whereas it sat in a box for a very long time. Thanks, Mom. My mom doesn't remember the story. She doesn't remember Shannon. But it had a profound impact on my life. My nose is running. Had a profound impact on my life. So I would be completely remiss if I didn't look at you and say, sometimes it's hard and sometimes it's dark, but you are a valued person. And if it is so dark that you feel that you need to do something desperate, stop. Call somebody. Call me. Stop, because you are valued and you will be missed more than you would ever know. It is dark now, but it does not have to stay that way. I'll send you a marble and you can move the marble. Because life changes quick. Sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad, but it changes. And you can change with it. And you are valued, and you are valued, and you are meant to be here. I wish I could have said that to Shannon. So I'm going to ask that you be kind in your comments. And that just be kind to me in your comments. And if you felt that this was inappropriate to tell you the story, please don't tell me. And if you don't want to follow me anymore because of it, I understand that too. But I said I would bring it to you, and I did. And I'm glad I did. Because if there's one person I can help out there, if this story reaches one person, just one, then I did the right thing. Okay, so if you are in that place, please call. Jot this number down, take this number and pick up your phone and call. There will be somebody for you to talk to at this number. God has a plan. We just have to wait to see what it is sometimes. So months afterwards, it was close to his birthday, and I didn't want to be disrespectful and go to the gravesite and find his mom there and have her upset. So I called. I got a hold of his brother. I got a hold of Sean, and I said, please, I don't want to upset anybody. Please, I will tell me when your mom's going to be there, and I will not go. I will not go to upset her. And he said, well, no, it's fine. But he also told me that Shannon had actually killed himself. He committed suicide in a different way than I was told. And in that moment, it brought everything back. I had thought one thing, and it turned out that he took his life in a different manner, and that he had left me a suicide note, and that note was down, at the LA coroner's office. And, you know, I'm 17, almost 18 years old, and I drive down to the coroner's office and I get the note, and the note had asked me that he loved me very much and asked me to join him. God had a plan to make sure I didn't get that note. Because a grieving 17-year-old is not all there, and I don't know what I would have done. But God made sure I didn't see that note until I could. And I miss him. And it's been 32 years. Okay, that's it. I'm gonna let you go now. And you can understand why I had to wait to do the story, because I can't come back and be perky right now. There's just nothing. I can't then show you samples and tell you to buy all of this great product. But maybe you know a little bit more about me. And maybe I helped one of you out there. So it is me, Stacy, Scrapbooking Made Simple. I will see you next week.